Directly behind the sheriff's office in Pawhuska, Oklahoma, sits an abandoned 3-story hospital. So of course, we wanted to see what was left behind.
And here's how we got inside, with permission.
My mission was simple: to find vintage hospital items and equipment. When the hospital was built in 1927, its location was chosen for the views of the Osage Hills, with long rows of windows to let in the fresh air, considered part of the healing process. But when we walked into the first floor, it looked more like a school. And as it turns out, from 1974 all the way to 1995, it was used as
Youth Services of Osage County.
Oh.
But they just used the front rooms, and we still had a lot to explore. So next we headed down to the basement, hoping to find signs of the original hospital.
Oh, no way. That must have been the old elevator shaft.
To me, it was obvious that this had been here since the building was first constructed, but the entrances on the first floor had been covered up, and it hasn't been used in a long time. There wasn't much else in the basement, so we headed back up, past a kitchen, and what looked like another classroom. Then I spotted something that might be more hospital-specific.
This file cabinet dates all the way back to 1919, but it's welded shut.
And I got really excited when we went to the second floor because I saw signs of hospital beds. But most of the rooms looked like a donation center, with clothes and canned food. Maybe even for cats? Then we found the bathrooms, with some of the original features still intact, and even a few photo slides. If you recognize where these were taken, please let us know in the comments. Then we finally made it to the third floor. And we hit the jackpot, because it looks like everything was left behind up here.
This whole thing would sterilize all the instruments for operation.
To save money and keep patients fed, the hospital ran its own farm, and in 1941 it opened one of the first plasma banks in the county, and patients paid only what they could afford, a system that upset private hospitals.
This was the X-ray? Wow. Westinghouse. Of course it's Westinghouse. They did everything. Probably right here is where they would have all the chemicals to develop the films for the X-rays. That's what would take the X-ray right there.
And at its peak, it treated over 700 patients a year, handled surgeries, births, and diseases like typhoid and tuberculosis.
Now, right on the other side of that wall, it says Youth Services of Osage County. But here, you can actually see the remnants of what was probably the operating light.
One article mentions a man who died here just a few days before turning 100, and the hospital shut down in 1973 when it was no longer financially sustainable.
The ironic thing here is my mother was born in this building.
We had a chance to speak with Sheriff Bart Perrier to ask what's next.
We've used it for training and whatever, but now it's starting to dilapidate and they become concerns.
And while this building can't be saved, until it's demolished, you'll still find that